Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, has issued one of his strongest recent public endorsements of the Islamic Republic's dress code, praising what he described as the progress of veiled women nearly 5 decades after the 1979 Islamic Revolution. His comments come at a time when Iran continues to face widespread resistance to compulsory hijab rules, with many women in major cities appearing in public without headscarves despite ongoing enforcement campaigns. The remarks were delivered in Tehran during a gathering covered by the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei media office. The available footage shows the supreme leader addressing an audience while reaffirming the government's long-standing ideological position on the hijab and its role in Iranian society. Iran has experienced a significant shift in public behavior surrounding women's dress in recent years. Despite intensified efforts by authorities, including the reactivation of morality police patrols, new AI-assisted surveillance systems, and administrative penalties, large numbers of Iranian women continue to challenge the mandatory hijab policy, especially in the capital and other major urban centers. The debate over personal freedoms, social norms, and the reach of state authority remains one of the most sensitive domestic issues in the country. Against this backdrop, the supreme leader used the platform to argue that Islamic dress, rather than limiting opportunities, has enabled women to succeed under the political system of the Islamic Republic. Speaking in Persian, Khamenei rejected the idea that wearing the hijab is an obstacle to personal or professional advancement. He stated, "They claim that if a woman wears the hijab and imposes limitations on herself, she will be prevented from progressing." The Islamic Republic has invalidated and refuted this false idea. State institutions have repeatedly framed the hijab debate as part of a broader cultural and ideological struggle between Iran and what officials describe as Western-influenced social models. Over the years, senior Iranian leaders have emphasized the need to protect society from what they consider cultural erosion. Khamenei's latest remarks fit into this long-standing narrative, reaffirming the state's intention to maintain the Islamic dress law as a central pillar of national identity. In his speech, the supreme leader attempted to connect the hijab to broader achievements. He pointed to what he characterized as examples of successful women operating in academic, scientific, political, and family roles within the framework of Islamic values. He argued that women adhering to the dress code have demonstrated capabilities equal to, and in some cases greater than, those operating under alternative cultural norms. He said, "In the Islamic Republic, it has been demonstrated that a Muslim woman wearing the hijab and respecting Islamic dress can progress more than others in all fields and play an active role both in society and in her home." These comments reflect the government's strategic messaging as it continues to confront visible dissent. While Iranian law requires women to wear the hijab in public, enforcement has become increasingly complicated. Since 2022, authorities have issued a series of legislative proposals aimed at strengthening compliance, including higher fines, potential prison sentences, and the use of digital tracking systems for repeat violations. Officials argue that these measures are necessary to uphold Islamic law. Critics, however, say the policies deepen tensions between the state and large segments of society. Public defiance of the hijab requirement has been particularly widespread among younger women. Social media footage over the past year has frequently shown women walking unveiled in shops, cafes, universities, and streets across Tehran, Shiraz, Isfahan, and other cities. Some businesses have faced fines or temporary closure orders for failing to enforce dress code rules on their premises. The government has responded with a combination of warnings, legal initiatives, and moral education campaigns. In several provinces, police announced the deployment of additional patrols to issue citations, while local authorities urged institutions to cooperate with enforcement directives. Despite these measures, visible non-compliance persists, highlighting the scale of the societal shift. Within this wider context, Khamenei's speech serves as both a reaffirmation of ideological principles and a signal to state institutions to maintain pressure. His remarks underline the government's view that adherence to Islamic dress is not merely a legal requirement, but a foundational component of the political system established after 1979. The supreme leader's statements also come at a time when Iran faces multiple domestic and external challenges. The government continues to confront economic pressures, international sanctions, and regional instability. all of which have placed additional strain on social cohesion. Iranian officials often position cultural issues, including the hijab, as integral to preserving national stability under these conditions. While Khamenei emphasized the success of women who follow Islamic dress guidelines, the reality on the ground reflects a more complex picture. Women in Iran today occupy senior roles in academia, medicine, engineering, and government. But debates around gender rights, public freedoms, and personal autonomy remain persistent points of political contention. The hijab, in particular, has become a central symbol in discussions about the relationship between citizens and the state. Over the years, authorities have released research suggesting that support for the hijab remains high among some social groups, particularly in more conservative provinces. However, independent surveys have indicated a growing divide between official policy and the attitudes of younger and urban populations, many of whom favor greater personal choice. Khamenei's speech did not address recent incidents involving clashes between citizens and enforcement units, nor did it reference the ongoing debates in Parliament over new hijab enforcement legislation. Instead, the remarks focused primarily on asserting that the system of the Islamic Republic has demonstrated the ability of veiled women to succeed across professional and personal domains. The timing of the statement suggests an attempt to reinforce government messaging ahead of expected legislative and administrative actions related to dress code enforcement. Iranian officials have hinted that updated guidance may be issued before the start of the new year, although no final announcement has yet been made. Throughout his address, the Supreme Leader framed the hijab as a matter of principle rather than policy. By describing veiled women as progressing under Islamic governance, he sought to position the dress code as an empowering and protective measure rather than a restrictive one. The argument aligns with the state's long-standing ideological narrative, which maintains that Islamic law enhances the dignity, safety, and societal participation of women. In practical terms, however, the dispute over hijab enforcement remains one of the most visible and contentious issues facing Iranian authorities. Public resistance has increased since 2022, with many women continuing to appear uncovered in defiance of state directives. Enforcement efforts, including the return of morality police patrols, have been met with criticism from civil society actors and some political figures who argue that punitive measures risk further inflaming public sentiment. Despite this environment, Khamenei's latest comments make clear that the leadership views the hijab not only as a religious obligation, but as a symbol of political continuity. By highlighting what he calls the progress of veiled women, he reinforced the central narrative that Islamic dress is compatible with, and even beneficial to, women's advancement within the state's ideological framework. The speech reflects the Supreme Leader's ongoing engagement in cultural and social debates that shape Iran's internal landscape. In reaffirming the government's position, he signaled that the compulsory hijab remains an unyielding pillar of state policy. With enforcement efforts continuing and public resistance still visible, the issue remains a central point of friction. The situation now advances with Iran's leadership holding firmly to its position, while a significant segment of society pushes for greater personal freedoms. Authorities will continue to monitor compliance, and new measures may emerge as policymakers attempt to close the gap between official expectations and public behavior. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's remarks underline the state's long-standing message. The Islamic Republic considers the hijab essential to its identity, its governance model, and its vision of women's roles in society. His statements place renewed emphasis on adherence to Islamic dress as both a moral and national standard. The Supreme Leader's comments reinforce Iran's unwavering position on compulsory hijab at a time of ongoing public debate and visible resistance.